A visit to the emergency room usually equals coughing up cash. But if you have insurance and you want to keep some of that money in your pocket, you try staying in network. Seems pretty simple, right? Well, maybe not in Texas, because even if the hospital you go to is in network, you can still walk out of the ER with a huge out-of-network bill. It wasn't the way Tina Kazmarski planned to spend a Saturday early last year, but feeling under the weather,
I knew that I needed to see a doctor.
Kazmarski found herself making a trip to a hospital emergency room in Dripping Springs.
Yeah, I was there for about 6 hours.
Knowing insurance has rules, Kazmarski called ahead to make sure the hospital was in network.
They confirmed that they accepted my insurance, and off I went.
In the end, Kazmarski's medical emergency was no big deal. She was healthy, but a month later, she faced a second emergency, this one financial. It was a separate bill from the ER physician,
And it was for about $900.
one her insurance wasn't going to pay. The reason? The hospital was in network, but the doctor wasn't. And no one in the ER told Kazmarski.
I feel like it's a scam.
For the average consumer,
It might feel like a scam, but Trey Burnt with AARP Texas says it's perfectly legal.
it's one of the biggest and largest growing consumer issues.
Exactly.
And few people are aware of the issue he calls surprise billing.
A medical crisis shouldn't be followed by a financial crisis, and that we need to put the brakes on this.
Surprise billing happens when an ER doctor, radiologist, or anesthesiologist works for a practice group, not the hospital. In Texas, a growing number of these groups don't accept the health insurance that hospitals take, making them out-of-network doctors. The result, ER patients can end up with huge medical bills their insurance won't cover. Burnt says he's seen surprise bills topping $8,000.
If you can't count on the insurance to cover you in an emergency, what can you count on?
The Center for Public Policy, an Austin think tank, recently studied the problem. Here's what they found, looking at the three largest insurers in Texas. In 56% of Humana hospitals, there isn't a single in-network ER doctor. That's the case in 45% of United Healthcare hospitals and 21% in Blue Cross Blue Shield hospitals.
It's like it's a roll of the dice as to what's going to happen to you, even if you ask all the right questions.
But couldn't hospitals help patients out, only contract with ER doctors that accept in-network insurance? Burnt says AARP posed that question to hospitals all over Texas.
The answer I've heard so far has been, well, it's a marketplace, and in some cases they have difficulty recruiting physician groups. Frankly, we don't think that's a very adequate answer.
Recently, the Texas Department of Insurance set up a mediation program to help patients appeal surprise bills. Under it, insurance companies and doctors try to negotiate a lower price. But mediation isn't binding, so...
Now, they can still choose to disagree, and the consumer can still be stuck by a balanced bill.
And there's one more problem. Not all surprise bills qualify for mediation. If the tab is less than $1,000, like Kazmarski's was, you're out of luck. Something she learned after trying to appeal her surprise bill, but got a collection letter instead.
So the doctor wants his money, and I went on a payment plan. AARP Texas and some other groups recently testified before a separate House and Senate panel on surprise billing. Trey Burnt hopes that lawmakers this legislative session will get something done, either prohibiting surprise billing here in Texas or lowering that $1,000 threshold in the mediation process. Now, if you've been surprise billed, here's what we would like you to do. Email us, find us on Facebook, or send us a message on Twitter. We'd like to take your stories to Austin and help people like Trey Burnt change the law. Reporting in San Antonio, I'm News 4 troubleshooter Stacey Cannon. When Maritha Hadley bought this little tan house in KCK,
It's going on 9 years now.
she never imagined moving. But with life comes unexpected change.
I miss this. I like my home.
Today, there is a for sale sign in the front yard. Health issues mean Hadley must move closer to family in Chicago.
I've been ill ever since I've been here. I have a heart condition.
Forced to sell, Hadley actually found a cash buyer rather quickly.
The 15th of June, that's when we were supposed to close.
But she couldn't finalize the deal. The reason? There's a $9,000 lien against her home. But according to this paperwork, that lien should have disappeared 3 years ago.
You have no idea until you're getting ready to close and you found a buyer that this lien still exists.
No, I didn't.
The $9,000 was Hadley's down payment. It was granted to her by a nonprofit called the Wyandotte Economic and Community Development Corporation, or WECDEC for short.
They were in the business of trying to create opportunities for affordable housing.
Gordon Criswell is the Director of Human Services for the Unified Government of Wyandotte County. He says WECDEC got funding from the UG to help low and middle income folks buy homes.
They primarily worked in the northeast part of the county.
Some people didn't want to buy in WECDEC neighborhoods like the one where Hadley's home was built. So in her case, WECDEC sweetened the deal.
If you lived here 5 years, it would be forgiven.
That's what my note said, my promissory note.
That didn't happen because in 2009, WECDEC went belly up. And according to Kansas Legal Services attorney Leland Cox,
sloppy on the paperwork end, if nothing else.
The nonprofit corporation failed to take care of some important legal paperwork.
It kind of left a lot of loose ends hanging, and Miss Hadley is one of those.
Cox is now working to remove the lien from Hadley's home so she can close the sale.
Rough guesstimate would be 45 days to 3 months, and clearly it's not in her best interest to have to wait that long.
Before Cox got involved, Hadley tried contacting the unified government for 2 months about WECDEC and her lien.
When I called, nobody seemed to know anything about it.
Fearing there could be more folks like Hadley, we started combing through county property records ourselves. After finding 3 more outstanding WECDEC liens, we spoke to Criswell about the problem.
We didn't have any reason to go back and audit this agency that is no longer in existence. So thanks to you all, we now are aware of this, and that's a good thing.
Criswell says the unified government is now working to notify several property owners there might be a bad lien against their home. The UG is also working to fix Hadley's lien.
We just feel bad that this lady is having this problem.
That may be too little, too late. With the lien still on her home, Hadley missed another closing date last Friday.
If you can't get this lien off and the title clear, what will you do?
I'll stay here.
But you won't be close to family.
No, I won't.
So where do things stand right now? I'm told the unified government is urging WECDEC to reconstitute its board of directors to get together once and release all the bad liens. If they refuse, Cox says he'll sue to quiet the title to Hadley's home so she can sell it free and clear. But that won't happen quickly. It could take 3 to 6 months' time. Stacey Cameron, KCTV 5 News.
February 2013, Lisa Anticinelli awoke for the first time in 5 months.
When they said I had 28 operations in that time period, and my life has changed. I'm me, but I'm not me.
She learned she was paraplegic and had been in a medical coma, that she survived an accident, and so did her memories.
And I looked up, and I couldn't believe the horror of the first responder's face.
It was September 1st, 2012. Lisa, a diabetic, was driving down Highway 80 just outside of Dallas.
All of a sudden, my blood sugar just dropped. And I know it was a big drop because my face went numb, my body started seizing up.
Before she could pull over, her body froze. The car on cruise control, the speed 80 miles per hour.
And I hit the guardrail.
That guardrail tore straight through her car like a bayonet.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and it went through me. And I didn't pass out.
She fell unconscious after one last memory of her rescue.
And they just had to slide me off the pole because it pulled a third of my body. It just opened up a third of my body. I can't wrap my mind around it.
Today, Antichinelli lives with her sister here in San Antonio, with medical bills piling up.
I'm over $1 million in debt.
Antichinelli is now suing Texas-based Trinity Industries, claiming part of the company's guardrail system caused her injuries.
I just want this to stop. I want the product to be made the way it was supposed to be made.
That product is the ET Plus End Terminal, a popular model of the yellow and black rectangles you see at the end of guardrails. It's a federally approved safety device used on highways all over the country. This crash test video shows how it's designed to work. In a head-on collision, the end terminal flattens out the guardrail, causing it to ribbon away from the vehicle. The end terminal absorbs the shock of the crash, slows the vehicle down, and brings it to a stop.
Where I've been in the industry, I can point them out driving down 60, 70 mile an hour. It doesn't matter.
Josh Harmon, an engineer from Virginia, owns a competing guardrail company. He manufactured replicas of the ET Plus, and Trinity successfully sued him for patent infringement. But Harmon says he learned something during the case.
This was something that was a deception.
Trinity made a design change to the ET Plus in 2005 without telling the federal government, who could have then ordered more safety testing. Harmon believed that change can cause the device to fail, and using that information, he sued Trinity under a federal whistleblower law.
We claim that they took a product that was working well, that they modified it without an engineering reason to do so.
Stephen Lawrence is one of Harmon's lawyers. In their lawsuit, they claim Trinity purposefully failed to tell the Federal Highway Administration about the design change. Trinity, in a press release, denies the claim, saying it has the highest degree of confidence in its product, but that is unfortunately all they would say due to litigation.
The taxpayers thought they were buying one device that had been thoroughly tested, well designed, well thought out, and that would save lives. And instead, what the taxpayers got after spending millions and millions and millions of dollars is a product that will kill you instead.
This month, Harmon's whistleblower case went to court, and a jury in East Texas agreed, finding that Trinity defrauded the government, ordering the company to pay $175 million. Trinity plans to appeal the verdict. In the meantime, Harmon took News 4 troubleshooters on a ride around San Antonio to find an ET Plus and point out the design change.
This is the difference right here.
He shows us what was proven in court, that Trinity shrunk the end terminal from 5 inches to 4. That keeps the guardrail from sliding through the ET Plus and flattening out if hit head-on. In Harmon's lawsuit, his attorneys argued the result is that the end terminal jams, breaks off, and the guardrail
Comes right through an engine block, right straight through the vehicle compartment, right straight through lives.
Again, Trinity is appealing the jury's decision, but in the meantime, 16 states are barring future installation of the ET Plus, including Texas. But the troubleshooters wanted to know how many ET Plus end terminals are on Texas highways. We asked the Texas Department of Transportation. TxDOT's answer, they don't know.
I just don't want any more people hurt. I don't want lives to be lost.
With her accident in the back of her mind, Lisa Antichinelli says she's paid attention to Harmon's suit, hoping it's the first step in getting the ET Plus off highways, something she now calls her life's work.
That is my goal. For it to be properly made like it was shown to the government.